All right, great. So let's just go through where we go to find jobs, basically, and actually going and basically applying to those jobs and coming up with the value proposition that you really need to stick out and get that interview. So I recommend starting with Indeed.com. There's
Right.
a ton of jobs on here. This seems to be the most popular one for coding. There's a lot of other job sites too out there, but a lot of them tend to be either connected to Indeed, where a lot of the jobs are already on Indeed, or they're more job sites for recruiters, right?
Yeah, I've had a lot of recruiters and just not a lot of luck with them. So yeah, I've definitely had a lot more
Yeah.
luck with Indeed.
We normally say about like 1 in 15 recruiters is actually good at their job. Recruiters tend to leave a bad taste in people's mouth, even for the companies, because they're typically just really, trying to get like a fast close salespeople, and it's not fun, and they normally make $30,000 to $40,000 in commission for getting somebody signed up or hired, and normally they're looking for people who are more advanced.
Right.
For more specialized work. So it's hard for new developers to kind of talk to them. We've had students hired through recruiters, but it's a bit of a longer process, and it can be really frustrating talking to them because they don't know anything about coding. However,
Yeah.
it's really great interview practice. So if you're like nervous about the interview, Jason, it would be a great place to go.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, every time I've had an interview with a recruiter, it just as you're saying. I mean, they don't have a tech background, so the questions that they're asking are like super basic, and then not really helping myself.
Exactly. It's almost like, do you have 5 years of SQL experience? And it's like, what? Like, what do you mean by that? Like,
Touch around with it, yeah. What do you mean by experience?
Yeah, exactly. So we'll just start it with Indeed, and I'm just gonna do San Francisco and just find job, and we're gonna click on advanced job search right here.
Ooh.
All right, so now we can enter in a bunch of different information. So I'm going to do with at least one of these words. We've tested out a lot of different things. I found this one to work the best, which includes HTML, CSS, front-end, JavaScript, JS, jQuery, and WordPress. So it has to have at least one of those with none of these words. So let me do this one. I get rid of most of the back-end languages: Ruby, Python, Java, C#, Objective-C, .NET, Senior, and SR. I don't want you applying to senior jobs. Those are normally actually senior jobs.
Right.
Android, Swift, Node I'm going to remove because that has been popping up more and more, even if it's not required. A lot of times I'll put it as like nice to have, Node. Manager, you probably don't want to do that. PHP, C++, backend, full stack. So let me go in here and let me remove Node, just so that we can kind of open up the possibilities.
Awesome. And would it be possible for you to Slack that to me?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Let me just do that to you. Send it to you right now.
Awesome. Thank you.
No? Those are the at least one, and this is the none of.
Perfect.
Cool.
Thank you.
If you want to, you can change the job type. I normally leave it open. I don't know. Sometimes contractors fine. Sometimes a lot of people will have contractors and whatever. So I'll just leave that open for right now. I will exclude staffing agencies because, again, recruiters are probably not who you want to talk to. You definitely want to talk to the company right away. Now, are you in, where do you live? In San Francisco?
Correct. Yeah, San Francisco.
Okay, and are you willing to go 25 miles outside of San Francisco, like Oakland or possibly San Jose?
Yeah. I think I put 50 miles before, but yeah.
Okay.
20 to 50.
Okay, cool. So we can just keep that for now. That's fine. Then this part's really important. The age is really, really important. Okay, you do not want to apply to old jobs. In fact, I always do since yesterday, because ideally you'll be applying every single day to like 3 to 5 jobs. Okay, you want to be really consistent with it. And another reason you want to apply from jobs that were just posted is because companies will get back to you much faster. They normally let in a certain amount of applicants and then shut it off. I've read a ton of hiring books and know the hiring methodology of a lot of companies around. A lot of them will continually look for applicants for jobs that they've had, as a safety measure, even though they're not really serious about hiring them. They'll just be racking up resumes just in case stuff doesn't work out.
Right, and just to bank them for later if they need it.
Exactly. You don't want to be in that list. You want to be in the first list where you're going to get an interview, basically.
Got it. Okay, so as soon as yesterday, that's when I want the jobs published.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's just do like 50 jobs a page. Probably won't have that many, but let's see. We got 24, and some of these will be relevant, and some of these will not. So we have graphic designer, not relevant. Program coordinator, I don't think so. Front-end engineer, let's do that. Manufacturing associate front-end, no. Professional services, actually, maybe. We'll take a look at that. Technical editor, no. Graphic designer, systems operation analyst. Optimization. I mean, this would be a pretty easy job to get. I'll open that up. It's not a bad starting job, especially for $76,000 a year. Coding lends itself to things like marketing, where it's SEO or ad creation or stuff like that, because there is coding involved. There tends to be coding involved with any kind of marketing nowadays.
Yeah, I've seen that SEO at a lot of places too, and I haven't applied to them because I didn't know what SEO was. But is that's something that you can pick up on the job, or just something that
you can easily pick that up with some videos from YouTube?
Okay.
At least a basic understanding and where to go. There's a lot of different stuff you can pick up on the job, or before you go in for the interview. That I would definitely recommend doing, especially if you interview with them. That'd be an easy kind of thing.
And if I'm understanding it correctly, is that like as straightforward as the name sounds? Like you're optimizing like a Google search engine, so that way, like if they search up like summer camp, like your summer camp shows up or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're changing content. Adding alt tags. I'm not even sure if meta tags are even relevant anymore for SEO.
Got it.
But there's so many things you could do. There's a site called SEO Moz that tracks the changes really, really well. So if you end up reaching out to them and get an interview with them, just reach out to me, and I can definitely help you out with kind of where to go from there.
Awesome.
Now, this one, AutoCAD Web Software Architect. Architect, to me, sounds like it's much higher level, and they're looking for AutoCAD. React, Node, Angular, I don't know. That one, maybe. Autodesk is a cool company. They do a lot of really cool stuff with 3D animation, and VR
stuff.
Are they
the company that does like the 3D printing at all, or like?
I think they do 3D printing. They're a really big company. I went there for an event, and they had some really, really interesting stuff.
Cool. Definitely heard their name thrown around a couple times.
Yeah. So that might be really good. Marketing content producer, possibly. I don't know if they want you creating the content. Sometimes they say producer and they just want you adding it to the WordPress site.
Right.
Implementation with web development, prepares customer for implementation, setting up. This might be something that'd be super basic, but might not be tons of coding.
Right.
Let me see. That's the same one. Program communication associate. Email and communications developer. So that's HTML email creator I mentioned before. Super easy job.
Yeah.
Enterprise account, no. Sales engineer, possibly. Sales associate analyst. Okay, not a ton today. Normally I see it more in like the 30s, and we end up getting like 5 to 10 good jobs. But that's okay. We got a bunch up here, so let's just kind of go through a few of these and see what we got. So ThreadUp Inc. is the first one. ThreadUp, we have, so just to kind of, explain this. Normally I just go through and I quickly read what this is to see if it's even doable, right? I want to read it briefly about the company, and then I'll see what's going on with the requirements. All of your research in total should take you about 10 to 15 minutes per company. You'll get much faster at it. The first couple times you're going to be really slow, but I promise you'll pick up the pace as you get used to it. So tell me if I'm going too fast, and I'll kind of slow down a little bit.
Yeah, no, you're going perfectly fine.
Okay, cool. Okay, so they're into clothing. Are you into clothing?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so that's part of the being excited for what they do, right? If you're not actually into coding, it's going to be hard for you to lie about it. One thing, everybody seems to think that they're really good at like faking it. They're not. It is so obvious when people are not being genuine. Even when they're they're like decent at faking it, it's still, I don't know, it still seeps through for some reason.
Right.
Let's see. We're looking for an engineer to work closely with our product marketing outbreak team to inspire a new generation to think secondhand first. Okay, so they're a secondhand clothing store. That's really interesting, like a Buffalo Exchange, I guess, kind of thing.
Oh yeah, very San Francisco.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Shop her closet platform, drive people, E-line, drive more awesomeness. Okay, cool. Maintain full stack systems. Ooh. Well, maintain a full stack system might not be the same thing. I technically worked as a full stack developer, but was really only doing front end.
Got it. Okay. So that could be just like make an API request or something, or AJAX request.
Yeah. It could just be where it's already working. Honestly, you know what the problem is? A lot of people who write these ads are typically not developers. They're HR, right? Or a manager who might not be a coder or doesn't know how the code is currently working. My first job, my manager put in all this different stuff about backend I needed to know. And when I went in, I found out it was nothing about that. It was just HTML, CSS, and it was the amount of stuff they put in as a requirement is just shocking. That's the other thing too. Like for my first job, I knew 25% of the must-have things. That was really how low it was. And so, I want you to kind of take that in mind here. If you have 50% or more, you're golden. Definitely apply. That's not a big deal. It's more of a wish list than anything else.
Right. Got it. Okay. Good to know.
Okay, so you're going to be on a team. Times, yeah. Okay, so requirements, there's always years required, so you can just ignore that. 2 years is fine. That's a very low amount.
Right.
When you start seeing 7 or so, or 5 plus, maybe then you're like, okay, I don't know, is this a more senior role, or what are they really looking for? 2 to 3 to 5, honestly, is even still fine. Production level software engineer. Experience with single-page application JS frameworks. What did you learn in class?
So, in terms of frameworks, we've learned jQuery, we learned a little bit of React.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it. We didn't do Angular or didn't do Vue.
Okay, this is all good news. Look, here's proof that this 2 years is complete BS. Okay? They say 2+ years, right? But yet, React, Redux, and Node, if you've been coding for 2 years and you don't know like any of the JS frameworks or a little bit of Node, you're clearly not coding for 2 years. You probably just are aware of code for 2 years. So this is definitely, especially if it's just a bonus, I could send you some resources to quickly pick up React, Redux, and Node, or at least the basics, and be able to talk about it.
Yeah. That'd be great. Any resources you can send, I'd truly appreciate that.
Yeah. I wouldn't jump too fast on resources, though. Normally what I like to do is wait to see who responds back, and then focus all of your efforts on that. Right? If the HTML email people get back to you, focus on HTML email and increasing improving the design to increase conversion rates and click-through rates.
Got it.
If it's this, then React Redux. What we care about, ownership, trust, blah, blah. That's all, BS stuff. People just say stuff. Building scalable systems, nothing's more SF than that. Flexible, nimble, facilitate career. Okay. We got some stuff from this. It was posted 6 hours ago, by the way, so that's great. You're going to be one of the first people to apply if you apply to this. Now, let's Google them, and let's see what pops up. All right, so we got their website here. I don't see anything else. Private company info. Sometimes I go to this stuff. We can check it out because it sometimes it's better to go and take a little bit of a deeper look. LinkedIn normally tells you how many employees are there, right? The Google reviews are pretty terrible. You probably don't want to lead into that, but you might be able to allude to it without being in any way negative. Talking about how you want to, have a really great experience, right? Because I can guarantee you, whoever owns this company or even people running this company see 2.4. That's atrocious, review. So that might be good. It might be good to go through these, especially if you got an interview with them, go through the reviews and then not mention that you've read the reviews, but talk about the fixes you can implement that, people kind of want to see, but don't say you've actually read them. Does that make sense? You don't want to be negative. You want to be pure positive, and this is a good way to get on the same page with them, right? Because if they have, I don't know, I mean, I could click into this, if they have a bunch of people saying, I don't know, like the user experience is really poor or something like that, you could really hammer
Right.
home, UX is so important. UX would be really great. And so you can just go through that
Right.
and just kind of figure that out. Does that make sense?
Got it. So it sounds like going through the reviews, it might be just a good starting point for conversations or how you can add value.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That would be good for talking. You really don't want to necessarily lead in with something like that. Again, you want to stay away from negative things. You don't want to bring up that you read
Right.
bad reviews about them,
Right.
but you can use the reviews to tell you what they're thinking. If that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Cool. So let's go take a look at their site, threadup.com. That's a catchy name. The largest online consignment and thrift store.
Wow, nice website.
Yeah. All right. Somewhat bad news for you. It's all women's clothes, so that's okay. So that's okay. Well, no, there's men's here too. I mean, obviously, I guess they're trying to go for everybody. A lot of times I've seen sites that focus a little bit more. Well, they're thinking about launching a men's section, and we need your feedback.
Ooh,
Again,
okay.
maybe something you could bring up,
Right.
that you might be interested in doing. I don't know. Do they have I guess they really want me to sign up here, huh?
Right.
Nope, I really want to go somewhere else. Okay, let me refresh this.
Wow. Talk about user experience.
Exactly, yeah. So that's like a perfect example, right? You don't want to mention hey, I hate your splashdown that makes me sign up. You might want to mention improving the user experience. I have a feeling that that's really, really big for them. An e-commerce site is interested in conversions also, right? So I would hammer home conversion and user experience would be really good for you to focus on.
Got it. Okay, and then just to clarify, conversion means just the how fast you get from one page to the other page?
No, it means how many people, what percentage of people went to the site and then actually bought something. Now, the average conversion rate on an e-commerce site is roughly 2%. If you have 1%, you're doing pretty bad. If you have 3%, you're doing phenomenal. Okay, that's just average. And so if you can increase it, just to give you an idea, right? When I worked at a company, they made about 30 to 40 million a year, right? While I was there, I increased the conversion rate from 2% to 2.2%. So we're talking millions of dollars, right? Millions and millions of dollars. And smart companies understand that if you can even just do an A/B split test, or a test that increases the conversion rate by a small amount, it's massive for them.
Right.
All right, so this is kind of interesting. It's e-commerce, so yeah, if I were you, I'd focus on conversion. That'd be a pretty easy one to go after. Let's see this other stuff they got. Okay, founded in 2009, so it's an older company. We got their founders here. Take it they're still maybe in charge. I don't know. You might be able to look them up on I don't know, TechCrunch or Angel.co. A lot of times I'll have information on them. Yeah, so that's okay. That's a small snapshot. Let's take a look at LinkedIn and see what's going on with that. It's a good way to see how many employees are there and stuff. Wow. Is that accurate?
A lot.
Wow. That's an insane amount of people. I gotta sign in. Okay, whatever. But you'd be able to click in and kind of see. That's a really huge amount of people. I'm actually really shocked at that. They must have a lot of investment.
Yeah, or maybe a lot of part-time staff or something.
They had $50 million in investment. So, yes, they can afford to have quite a few people. This is also very, very good news for you. The more money a company has, the easier it is to go through the hiring process. Simply because they typically are trying to hire a little bit faster to get things done. So your ability to demonstrate how much value you can add is really going to accelerate. Excuse me. It's really going to accelerate this entire process. Great. I think this would be a really good one for you to apply to. I'm going to send this over to you, and we can really quickly kind of talk about something you could write up for them.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
Awesome.
you sent me your cover letter earlier, I believe, right?
Correct. Yeah, and I think I've updated it since then, but again, nothing that shows that demonstrated value or
Okay.
target specific company. More of a generic one.
Yeah, that's fine. So a generic is fine for a large portion of it. Let me bring up the old one. You don't have to send me the new one. I'll just pull this one up. And I think we talked about removing a few things, like removing your address and everything like that. You definitely don't need that. Yep. All right. Yeah, we can just remove all that. Let me see here. Okay. Yeah, a few things definitely to remove is, you don't have to start with Dear Hiring Manager, I'd say.
Right.
Express my interest, demonstrate my portfolio, focus on manage all aspects of it. I think we talked about it, like keeping this sentence is fine, or this paragraph is fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think you should keep this. I think this is okay. Maybe you can keep this. And yeah, regards, Jason Yee. You might also want to add in links to your portfolio on LinkedIn also. I know people do that a lot. I think it's fine, though. We've had students who do it all over the place, and it seems to work better.
Got it. Right.
Yeah.
Like including it in the cover letter as well as in the resume and email as well.
Yeah. You really want them to see, your portfolio and everything. I think that's really big. Okay, so I think you have fine stuff, and as usual, people will talk about themselves a lot in a cover letter. It's hard not to, right? You're trying to explain why you want to work somewhere. But the very first part, right, the first 1 to 3 sentences needs to be about them entirely. You need to make it entirely about them. So based on what we know, let's kind of brainstorm out some stuff that we could say based on working a thread up. And I like to start with this actually directly with the ad and see if there's any kind of words we could use, to basically use their same language back to them. It helps out a lot because, the person reading it is probably the person who wrote this.
Right.
Well, let's see. Let's just take a minute real quick and see if we can find anything.
Yeah. Let's see, feature. There we go. Maybe a new generation of consumers to think secondhand first.
Maybe we could use that. Although, is that also their tagline?
I don't know. That could be their tagline too.
I'm kind of thinking right now, another good idea to do is also kind of flatter them / show them your excitement, right? And you can do that by talking about what a cool company it is and how much you believe in their product, right? And so you could talk about something like, I'm a really, hey, I was so excited to see your ad. I'm a really big believer in secondhand clothes. In the Bay Area, we have so many good options, but it's so cool that you have a website where people can do this all across the country.
Right.
And I'd really like to be a really big part of it. I think I could contribute in a really big way. We probably want to focus somehow in conversion rates. Let's start writing this out. Okay. I love secondhand stores and
then I guess just another kind of subjective question, but I've always been taught to kind of keep a professional tone when you're sending these kind of emails.
Nope.
Is it?
Don't do that. Here's the thing. Professional is boring. Don't be boring. Boring is the worst thing you can be because boring is forgettable. You don't want to be boring, right? You want to be memorable in some way. So I know this seems a little weird, right? I was so excited when I saw your job ad. What you all do is so cool, right? Yeah, a lot of people in different parts of the country reading this or for different, jobs will be, like shocked that you're this kind of laid back about it, as opposed to like,
Right.
dear sir or madam,
Right.
I want to,
You're a
apply.
manager.
Don't do that. I think honestly most people hate that, but for some reason
Right.
a lot of people stress doing it. I don't know why. I don't think it works. It doesn't work for me. It hasn't worked for any of the people I know who do hiring as
Right.
well. We imagine it like this, right? If you're in HR, you have, you put a job ad out and you get about 100 or so applications for a job, right? I can't tell you how mind-numbing it is to read, dear sir or madam, I saw your job advertisement and I think I'd be a good fit. I have experience with this and I can do this and I also want to do this. And, it's just like, God, like put me out of my misery already. It's just, so you want to do something that stands out in a really big way and you want to talk to them, right? Pretend like you're writing to a friend, because that's what's going to happen when you get on the job, right? You want to make friends with this person. You don't want them to know how professional you are, because that's just way too boring. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally makes sense.
Okay, cool. So I was so excited when I saw your job ad. What you all are doing is so cool. I love secondhand stores, and would love to help push this to the masses. Maybe you could say, like, the Bay Area has so many options, and would love to help push this to the masses. Let's see. I wonder if we want to talk about increasing conversion rate here. You might even be able to say, something along the lines of, I like your site a lot and have a few ideas on how to increase conversion rate.
Oh, nice. And would you list those ideas on the cover letter currently? I mean, I guess just to showcase your knowledge, right?
You absolutely could. Yeah, you absolutely could. And have a few ideas on how to increase conversion rates. Increase your conversion rate. Yeah, I think it would be great. I think it would be super awesome for you to go through and say, okay, what can we do? And if, just looking at this, lucky for you, I have some experience with this. So, let's go see what we can do. Free shipping is actually a really successful way to get stuff done, but you could do something like, testing icons, or a more, like, honestly, a good one would be a free shipping option that's a little bit more appealing or a little bit more noticeable.
Right, like maybe bring a little closer to eye level or something. Like
you could just change the color. You could do something as simple as change the color, add like a truck or something. Let me show you what we did. I'm assuming they test out stuff so much at Headsets. Which is where I used to work and worked on their e-commerce site. But free shipping was a massive success for us. We thought we were going to lose a lot of money, and it turned out people buy way more when they know they're getting it shipped for free. Let's see. Yeah, so we had like free shipping 2 day. Yeah. So we tried out different stuff. We had like a car and all this different stuff we tried. Maybe it doesn't make a difference, but they're testing stuff constantly. Right. But either way, right, it doesn't matter if the idea is like a killer idea. You just need ideas. That's really, what they're looking for. They're looking for somebody who can think. And somebody who can think and then execute on that idea.
Right. So somebody who can be a problem solver and to create ideas and not just follow the leader type of deal.
Yeah. Yeah,
Got
so
it.
we just do like
totally, that makes sense.
More noticeable free shipping banner, right? You could add a way to, if you wanted to, you could say give the option to sign up with Google. They already have options for Facebook. With Google or other social platforms. That's fairly easy to do. A lot of people test out different, a lot of this different stuff you can test. I don't know if I'd mention that or not, but you don't want to mention the negative stuff, right? You want to go all positive with like how it can be improved, not why something is bad.
Right,
Okay?
right.
You know, and you could say like, I don't know, you really like this, you know, just new markdowns. You're wondering what else you could do because it's such a prominent space. You know, you want to know what else you can do with these initial images to test out. You know, so you can do, you know, like test out a new image, test out different images at the top of the home page. Some to test right away. You know, here are some you can test right away. Yeah, and then you can go with that. Wait a second, real quick. I just want to make sure we're not jumping the gun on something here because they mentioned build, evolve, and maintain the full stack system to drive Outbreak Team's domain. Implement experiment. They're also talking about working on tools and stuff, so maybe they don't want you doing A/B split testing.
Right. So would that not be front end?
No, it's front end, and it's still conversion rate stuff. But I would actually remove that because you don't want to accidentally say something that will negate your ability to do it, right? If they're talking about automate certain needs, so you can talk about how to increase. I have a few ideas on how to increase your conversion rate and improve the user experience. You know, I like your website. Maybe we'll change it instead of a few ideas. You know, that's it. And would love, you know, and would really enjoy. No, that's a little too much. I like your website. See a few things that can be done to increase your conversion rate and improve the user experience. You know, that you can just start with that. That could be it. If you wanted, that could be the whole thing. You know, a lot of people, you don't even have to add other stuff for your cover letter. This could literally be it. You know, the more is not better, right? Less is more. You know, and that's just such a famous saying.
Yeah, too long didn't read, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like Mark Twain had something where he said, like, sorry I had to write you a long letter. I didn't have time to write you a short one. You know, it just shows like how much, you know, care you put into it because you can put your message into such a short amount of words, basically.
Right, okay.
The other thing you could do, now I wish I could like visit more on their site. Let me give you like an example. So I'll just go to headsets and go to the About Us just because I already know about this. I was just showing a student this the other day, and I just ran across it, that on their About Us section, they have these little mustaches, right, that people have, right? Does this appear to be like a very serious company?
Nope.
No, not at all, right?
Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, not at all, right? They have all this stuff on, you know, for the mustache. Now, a really easy way to go and probably get an interview, if they're looking for a job, is to take a picture of yourself with a finger mustache and put it at the top of your cover letter. You can do that. You know, let me tell you a quick story of like, you know, one of my first jobs I got when I was back home after living abroad was I worked at a locksmith company, and I couldn't find a job at all with my degree. You know, nobody really cared. And then my brother Sam recommended that I put a picture of myself on the top of my cover letter because nothing else was really working, and he changed my cover letter because I had a professional one before, right? And I changed it completely to just be like a few sentences, and that was it. And then it was a picture of me with my surfboard and my shirt off. And I was like, you know, this is like DC. I can't send this out. And he was like, well, you know, nothing else has really worked. And I sent it out. A week later, I get the interview. I couldn't believe it. You know, the phone call went really good. I was invited in person. And the first thing I saw when I walked in was 3 surfboards on the wall. You know? And,
wow.
Yeah. And it just clicked with me at that moment that I'd been messing up so much because I wasn't adding any personality for myself, right? I was just another peg, you know?
Yeah. Connect with these. You want to connect with them.
Yeah, exactly, right? So the HR person knew that the owner of the company loves surfing. Therefore, This kid likes surfing. Hey, I bet they have
Right.
something to connect on. I bet the boss is going to like me for bringing this kid in. They can talk surfing.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So it's the same kind of thing, right? If you took a picture like this, they'd be like, oh, the word they use in headsets is wacky. And they'd be like, oh, this guy's kind of wacky. I like how funny he is. He saw our About Us page and did the same exact thing.
Right.
Yeah. There's all this different stuff you could do. So that's one thing, you might want to try to figure out here. I don't know if we'd be able to because of this pop-up. It doesn't allow me to click on other stuff.
I can go there.
Yeah, if I could. I don't know if there's an About Us page, maybe. I've got a little bit of time. Come on, go quick. Let's see.
Right, where that thing pops up.
Yeah. I wonder if their conversion rate's better for that. Maybe they get a lot of people to sign in just because of that, because people want to shop. That'd be interesting.
Right.
I don't know. I'm not their customer, clearly, so that's okay. Let's see. Okay, so they just have shop, clean out. Okay, so you can send in clothes to sell to them. Yeah, they got a pretty big team.
That's 2 services, too.
Yeah.
Selling in, buying.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, 90% off because everything's super used. I've seen companies try to do this. It's definitely a big competition there. Looks like this is the founder, right? And, you can kind of, honestly, it's a good idea, especially if the company you want to work at, is just watch stuff like this. Go and watch their interview and get a better idea. What is this from the CEO? Think about secondhand, and we have the capacity and energy and vision to make that part of people's lives. Yeah. So, this seems super relevant. You could even use some of this stuff that they say. Style up, save up, live up. Maybe that's something they actually say around the office. I don't know.
Right, like some company culture or company mantra or something.
If you really want to go over the top, right, you take what we wrote, that's the top of the cover letter, you go through and you read some of this stuff and you reference it. And you're like, hey, I was reading, I watched the video on, James Reinhardt, and blah, blah, blah. I like this, I like that. It seems like really cool culture. You can just go on and on like that. Complimenting the company, talking about how excited you are to work there. If you want to throw in some ideas you could too. You could say you'd be really interested to see what kind of efficiency, what kind of tools they want you to make, because they talked about that a little bit. There's all this stuff you could do, right? And the longer you stay on here and come up with content for them, the more likely you are to get the interview.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Makes total sense.
Cool.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense now. Yeah, now I see why I'm not getting as many responses.
Yes, that's exactly it. You just want to do a little bit of focus, and it just changes everything around. Like the student I told you I talked to the other day, it was just 2 sentences we wrote for them at the top of the cover letter. That was it, and he just got the interview with them. Just a little bit of focus, just a little time in, because nobody does it, Jason. Nobody does it. Like 5% of people. Cool. Does this make sense? Do you want to do another one? You want to see another one?
No, I'm actually all. I think I get the point. Yeah, that totally makes sense to me. I actually would love if I could get some of your eyes. I did actually secure an interview with another. Yeah, with a company called App Direct, and I guess I wanted to ask you what how I could best position myself to look and be successful and add value.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, let's actually talk about that too. So do you have an email from them or something I can see? You said it was App Direct.
Yeah, I can actually send you the link to the job, and then let me pull up the email that I found.
Why does that sound so familiar to me?
I don't know. I feel like I've seen that in commercials or something, or some kind of online banner.
Yeah.
They look like a really.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I just don't know where. My internet's going so slow today. I guess, recording the video, live chatting with you, all this stuff is like...
Yeah, sorry about that. I know you're a busy man.
My computer's acting all crazy right now. There it is. Okay, cool. App Direct. I don't know where I know that from.
Yeah, I couldn't say that they're like a cloud software company or something like that. I should probably brush up and figure out what they do.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we had to talk. Yeah.
The only end-to-end commerce platform for succeeding in the digital economy. Okay. Sell services through your online store. App reseller, scan, and automate. Yeah, app devices. Yeah, this is the problem, right? A lot of these big companies do a lot of stuff, and it's not super obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Web developer. All right, that is pretty clear. This is a unique opportunity. B2B company. Okay, that's already informative. They sell to businesses, right? Not to customers. Unlike the last one we just looked at.
Business.
Awesome. This is a company that, again, wants you to think. At least that's the second sentence, so I imagine that's important to them. Normally, the higher up it is,
right.
the more important.
Right.
Funny, capable of official job that multitask. Cool. Okay. Seems like, pretty straightforward stuff. What you'll do and how you'll make an impact. Grow. Your teammates who enrich your skill. Wow, this is really interesting. They're starting with how much you're going to learn. That's really solid.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, you might want to mention that. And you could do it from, if you mention it during an interview, right, you might want to mention it from both sides. Like, you're really looking forward to learning from their experts, but you also like teaching people things too, and you hope you can contribute. Right? Maybe you say something like that. You hope you can contribute and teach people a lot of different stuff that you know.
Right. Got it. Okay. Continue that cycle of teaching and learning.
Yeah. If the first thing they say is grow, maybe you mention that. You can say, you're really excited to work on a team that's about growing our skill sets, both because of what you can learn, but also you love teaching because, it helps. You can be like, yeah, it helps me learn, but, you also love seeing other people, use what you taught them kind of thing.
Right. Got it.
You want to grab these little tidbits, these little things and try to figure out how to work it into the conversation for things that appear to be important to them.
Got it. So just sounds like I need to spend a lot more time than I have been doing on the actual job description and then view the site and then key in on things to actually talk about.
The most important thing, Jason, a good salesman does, the number one most important thing they do is ask good questions.
Right.
They're trying to understand what their pain point is. They're trying to understand why they even want the product and if they even should be there. Right? Salespeople hate dealing with people that should not even be talking to them. Because they're like, well, why are you here buying a car when you wanted to actually buy an oven? This is not, the place for that. But a lot of people will kind of, do that. And so if you're able to kind of break down, for them directly and almost be that ideal salesman by reading the app, which already tells you what they're interested in, right? They're already telling you, so you don't have to ask a million questions. You already have the answers. You just need to use these answers in the conversation and in how you apply. Got
it. Got it.
I mentioned I was focused on increasing conversion rates when I was getting my first job. I talked about it all the time. When we were on the call, that's what I would bring up. I'd ask questions about it. When we were in person, I'd talk about that. The test turned out to be about that. And it was just perfect because that was my focus. And you can do that too. You can pick out stuff and try to figure out, well, what should I be focusing on and talking about?
Right.
All right, so let's see what else they got going. So it's like, be challenged. You can talk about how you like problem solving. That's good. Drive new web initiatives. Again, problem solving and actually doing things on your own.
Right, action steps.
Yeah. Technology, sure, yeah. Have fun, okay. Ping pong, they got ping pong. You can mention that. If you play ping pong.
I do.
There you go. So you can mention ping pong. Everybody in San Francisco plays ping pong.
Seriously.
So those are the kind of things you can kind of joke about, right? Like, healthy snacks and ping pong, you can joke about that a little bit.
Right.
Those are good key takeaways. Let's see. Again, 3 years. Oh, they always list it. You can just ignore that.
Right.
Quality code efficient. Yep. Experience design. Yep. Your comment. Well, now this is interesting because this says designs, but this says web developer. So who knows? Maybe they want a designer. Keep in mind, my first job listed was a web designer position that they actually were like, oh, you can just be the coder. And I was like, great, let's do that. So it's very easy to kind of change something, especially for a big company like this.
Got it.
Ooh, you have GitHub, Quora, or Stack Overflow account that demonstrates what you love to do. So they're already telling you, do you have GitHub that you use pretty regularly?
I do. I'm trying to push code every day.
Perfect. Okay, perfect. So you might need to highlight that somewhere. I don't know. Maybe they already saw it. Maybe that's why you got the interview. But there's stuff like this in there that points to, like, you need to do some of this stuff. Yeah, okay. Experience with Craft CMS and or Twig templating. This is going to be their basically like their version of WordPress, right? They're using a content management system, which is CMS. Right. Systems for SaaS. If you don't know SaaS, it's really easy to pick up. Should take you an hour.
I actually just went through a course where they talked about like CSS variables. Is that similar?
Yes,
right?
Yes. So CSS took in variables. SaaS didn't invent it, but they popularized it. And then CSS started using it. So that might also be something you could talk about is like, oh, do you guys use SaaS? Or, CSS has variables too. They probably use SaaS because once you have a system in place, it's really hard to remove it. Right.
To go back and fix all update all the code.
Yeah. So all of this stuff, this is all fine. You'll be fine with all this.
Right.
Is the only end-to-end commerce platform for selling, distributing, and managing cloud-based products and services to succeed in the digital. They said it again. Okay, at this point, you already kind of know, well, this stuff probably isn't as important. It looks like they copied and pasted it. Right. Connects channel. Let's see if we can figure out what they do. Connects channels, developers, and customers. They're an e-commerce platform. That's what they do, I think. I think that's what they do.
Is that kind of like the workforce or Salesforce thing as well?
It's more like Shopify, but it looks like it's probably a more handcrafted version for Jaguar and Land Rover and Comcast, right? They need somebody managing their websites, and AppDirect, which obviously is a massive company if they're doing those accounts.
Comcast.
Yeah, exactly. It does that. So that's, a lot of businesses will pay other businesses to do that. That's what they do. It looks like they handle large accounts. So that could be something you could talk about. So that could be something you could talk about. All right. Yeah, I think that's what you could do. Take these tidbits, try to work it in the conversation. So, do you have an interview coming up?
Yeah, I have an interview scheduled this Wednesday for 11 o'clock.
Okay,
I'm sorry,
cool.
No, Thursday.
Perfect. So here's a couple questions just right off the top of my head. You could talk about and say like, hey, you know that you guys handle really large accounts, and you can ask, am I going to be working on a big company site? Am I going to be working on tools that all companies use? What's kind of my role there? This demonstrates that you've done some research, and you understand. You could talking about how excited you are about the growth. Maybe ask what that might look like. Is it one-on-one experience? Do you get to do training? What kind of training is offered? How can you contribute? What can I do as a new team member? What can I do to contribute to the growth of the team? That would be a really good one.
Is it an okay question to ask, what success looks like in this position?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you could ask those questions. In Litmos, we have a bunch of questions you could go through. You're trying to ask questions to, one, get answers so you can kind of repeat those answers to them, right? That helps a lot. But, you also want to ask questions to demonstrate, one, that you're smart and ask good questions, and two, that you really kind of belong at this job because you understand the dilemmas and the problems that they'll run into.
Right. But show understanding of the dilemma.
Yeah, so if you can do that, I think that'd be really good. You want to find out what their problem is and how you can solve it. That's a really big deal. Not enough people focus on that. Everybody seems to focus when they apply on me. I need a job.
Right.
Don't do that.
Talk about them.
Yeah.
Talk about them. Butter them up, and it sounds like shorten the cover letter. So like in my current cover letter, I do kind of talk about some of the technical skills. Do you recommend I just like take that off and?
Honestly, what I sent you would probably be better. Like this for that first company would probably be better than adding in all that other stuff. And maybe end it with that sentence you had. Right? You had a good sentence at the end, talking about how excited you are. And you'd love to talk to them more about it.
Yeah. Got it. Okay, so short and sweet, to the point, and then.
If you want to, you could take a picture of you with like a bunch of clothes and be like, "Hey, here's all my co-signed clothes. I really do love, buying secondhand, kind of thing." That would be really cool to do, right? Like that's an easy thing too, right? It's really easy to do. Pictures is just such a good way to stand out.
Got it. That makes sense. Some way just to kind of separate you from the monotony.
Yeah.
Got it. Awesome. This has been super helpful, Matt.
All right. Cool, Jason.
Yeah.
All right. If you have any other questions or want to bounce any ideas off me, just feel free to reach out.
For sure. I definitely will, and I may reach out to you again just kind of to prep for my interview tomorrow. But
absolutely. Okay. Cool, Jason. Talk to you later.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Matt. Good talk. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.